Hello and welcome to Logistics Shakti Podcast series. I am Sukshim Sharma, your host for today, as I'm joined by dignitaries who are shaping conversations around logistics sector in India. Welcome to the show, ma'am. Can you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you. I'm Shweta Goela and I head strategy at Safexpress Pvt Limited. It's into pan India logistics and supply chain management. So I manage strategy there. And under strategy, there are different domains related to research, analytics, communications, business innovation, and ESG is also one of the things that we are talking about. And we are, totally considering it across organization as to how we can become ESG compliant. However, we really feel the management of the company buys with that thought of how our business can be built around it, and it is the way of doing business, and that's how this particular topic of sustainability excites me, and it's something that I live day in and day out.
Right. Ma'am, to start with, since you mentioned about, how sustainability is, driving the conversation now. If I talk about particularly, logistics sector in India, what are the gaps and what exactly, eventually we can fill around with sustainability in the mind?
So, very good question. What we're talking about is India, and in India, where we are focusing about manufacturing sector in terms of greening their supply chain, a very important role is being played by the logistics service provider. And to the manufacturers, logistics service provider and the emissions caused by them will be under scope 3 emissions, right?
Yeah.
So, though we are targeting the top 1,000 revenue generating companies in terms of their ESG compliance, logistics companies per se are not that much in a regulated environment to do that compliance thing. However, if the management of the company, and these are family owned businesses majorly, they feel that out of their own will that they want to do it, they are doing it. And primarily logistics sector is like 90% it is unorganized and only 10% is organized, wherein you have thousands and thousands of local transporters who will be owning 2 3 trucks and will be operating on limited lanes, right? But those transporters are small in terms of their operations, and they are barely meeting their, because logistics cost is a huge cost, and they're barely being able to meet up their cost and generate profits. And for them, the main thing is how do they generate profits, and not about sustainability. And plus, awareness is also lacking there.
Right.
Wherein the handful of players, which are the organized, which constitute the organized sector, you can count them on your fingertips. These are majorly 5 or 6 players who are majorly playing a role here. And when we say logistics is the backbone of our country and our country growing at the fastest pace as it is, logistics has to become a backbone. And of course, these organized players have a role to play here, right? But having said that, the smaller transporters, the entire ecosystem has to evolve. And plus, the major problem here is a lot of dependence on road transportation. 60 to 70%, of the transportation happens through road transportation. So it's a
Absolutely.
heavy, dependence on road, and the kind of carbon emissions that get generated. If we really need to work on the ground, then we need to see about how we can utilize multiple modes for the transportation, and how we can create an integrated structure. We are talking about logistics 3.0, and today during the session, our honorable minister Gadkari ji talked about 4S, which are going to be way forward for how we can move in this logistics 3.0 journey, which is to do with scalability, which is to do with sustainability, and likewise. So all of these things are definitely going to be contributing towards how we will lead ourselves towards the net zero, and how this will in turn contribute to the country's economic growth as we are trying to move towards Viksit Bharat by 2047. It's 20 years journey that we all have to travel together. But here, what will be needed is how collaboratively we can work together. Because, see, we are all working in silos in whatever way we know is the best for us, right? And we
Absolutely.
are doing it in our own ways. But there has to be some systems, some metrics, some processes that we follow in a very structured, integrated manner so that we are all working in the same direction and not like, you're doing something else in terms of measurement, I'm doing something else, but nobody can compare what you are doing is better than me or what I'm doing is better than others.
Right.
Or are we taking the benefit out of these best practices across the industry, and are we uh, in a collaborative manner? Plus there is a role of digitization, plus there is a role of the third S was smart technology, right? So how we can use technology, digitization as a tool, AI as a technology, and put this all together and go our way to where the country is leading to. So the question is not about growth. Growth, of course, will come, but how responsibly and how resiliently we can move ahead is the real need of the hour.
Absolutely. Very well explained, ma'am. Since you explained the gaps and you are into strategy of, bringing strategy to things, I would really like to know that what exactly then, to move in this one direction we can do. I mean, to bring everybody under, one roof and provide them actual solutions. So how can these awareness part can be done?
See, I really feel there is no one solution that will help, right? And it's not just a dependence on the government. So we have to look at what will drive the sustainability adoption, right? First of all, very well said, awareness needs to be created. So different forums can get together, industry forums, to actually, have the all the stakeholders gather around, talk about this, and work on the real life challenges as to what is the real challenge. Like maybe the economic side is a challenge, maybe the awareness side is a challenge, or maybe there are different things that need to be done in a collaborative manner. Like in the session that I attended before my session, it was no, in my session only, it was being talked about that how we can use EVs in the middle mile with the swappable battery options. This can serve two purposes. One is definitely in express distribution. You cannot just stop the truck midway and charge it for like 4 5 hours, because you don't have those kind of transit hours, because you are working on the service level agreements, right? And there you have to deliver that product within that time. And especially today, when we're talking about quick commerce reaching your doorstep in just 10 minutes, 15 minutes, we cannot expect that kind of delay. So we have to come up with the innovative such practices which can make processes, systems, the ecosystem work together. Plus, there are a lot of stakeholders involved, like EV charging companies and the truckers, the truck manufacturers. Everyone has to get together to actually create an ecosystem which is viable for that movement. We're not just talking about electrification. We're talking about using such fuels that are going to be maybe the hydrogen coming up. Or it's not just transportation, it's also about warehousing. So are we going the greener way? Are we using the renewable energy sources like solar energy, etc.? So all such awareness, and plus the waste part of how responsibly we are managing the waste. So the entire change has to happen at an individual level. Even you and I have to contribute to that
Of
if we
course.
want to move that way responsibly.
Right. Talking about the initiatives that are already in place in terms of, India globally as well. But particularly talking about India, since I mean, we are part of the system, and as you said, we can also contribute. From the government side, I would like to understand what are the initiatives that are already there, and what are the gaps that maybe we can improve and try and promote that from the government side.
See, the government has to work in a uh, as a very strategic enabler
Right.
here, right? And of course, there are two sides of government. One is while they impose the compliance. Second side of it is enabling that kind of an environment that everyone moves to that, that stage where everyone is willing to go there, and economics plays a lot of role here. So if the transporters are feeling that there's economic side to it. If I'm applying electric vehicles, it will save me, or I'm going for greener fuels, it'll save me this much amount, and this will be profitable for me. The trucks that I'm getting at such a price which is affordable for me, and at least be at par at how I'm buying the diesel truck, ICE engine trucks. So all of this have to be dealt together. There are a lot of apprehensions in the drivers while driving such vehicles, right? Though that awareness needs to be created, that incentivization has to happen from the government side. The push has to happen from the government side. Though today, if you talk about indirect pressures, of course, your customers who are belonging to that thousand top revenue generating companies, right? If you are their logistics service provider, definitely you will get an indirect push from them. But a direct, not like you're not creating ecosystem and you are just pushing them towards compliance, that also cannot happen, right? It has to happen in a very parallel fashion, wherein you're imposing certain kind of compliances, but then you're also creating an enabling environment, so it has to go hand in hand.
There has to be a direction to
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Has to be a direction. You need to understand the Indian scenario and then work towards it, of how we can smoothly transition to that kind of thing.
Absolutely. Just to sum up the conversation today, ma'am, since we are sitting at the second edition of Logistics Shakti Summit and Awards, any takeaway that you're taking home today from the summit?
There are lots. In fact, this was a wonderful platform wherein, all the stakeholders, from the government to the industry people to the consulting organizations, everyone was here. And in fact, I met people who are starting, who are just started up with the logistics. So it's something that you have all the people, you've been able to gather all the people from different, belonging to different stakeholder group. And I think that was a wonderful thing to actually see, to actually witness, wherein all the thoughts were being put together. And, when you're working, especially when I'm working from a logistics service provider standpoint, right? So I'll have a different perspective. But when you listen to the manufacturing side of it, when you listen to the packaging side of it, so I think that opened my mind towards a lot of ideas that we can work on going forward. Like maybe looking at, though we are not into packaging, but definitely we provide support for providing packaging material to our customers, especially in the retail sector where individuals do not have boxes to pack. We can look at some sustainable options. We can even explore new ideas of how we can transform our transporters who are working back with us as partners and make them aware about what options are available in terms of cost effective ways of having more trucks. As in, there was one of the ideas that one of the fellow panelists shared, that we offer trucks without batteries, and without batteries they hardly have any cost, right? So we can offer them that, and with the option of using swappable batteries, and they charge you according to the usage, right? So I think that approach will definitely help to transition more smoothly and in a faster fashion. However, there is more awareness that needs to be created among different groups of people, and the faster we can do it, the, like I said, we are all working in silos. So if we have better awareness, better collaboration, I think this will lead us to work in a very faster pace towards 2047.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining, ma'am. It was
a
a
pleasure.
really insightful session. Thank you so much.